everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I was supposed to do a Q&A with my husband, but he hasn't been feeling too good these past 2 days, and Isabella hasn't been feeling good as well because her first tooth just came in about 2-3 days ago. So she's been having a fever, she's been having diarrhea, she's just been in a lot of pain and very cranky. So both of them are taking a nap upstairs right now. So, I make this video, and I think this video I'm gonna talk about my full labor story. A lot of people requested it for me to talk about it, so that's what I'm gonna talk about. Okay, so, and by the way, one thing I want to say before I start into getting my labor story, I know everybody's labor story is different, and when I was pregnant and I was looking at labor stories just to see an idea of what I might be going through, yeah, some things happened, some things didn't, and you know, it's just different. And at that moment, you just never know what's gonna happen. Honestly, it's just, you gotta go with the flow, but it's an amazing thing afterwards. So yeah. Okay, so Isabella, my baby, was born on November 30th, and I went in November 28th. So I remember going to sleep then the 27th at night. I remember going to sleep, feeling normal. I did feel tired, and I was getting a lot of back pains on my lower back. So I was just like, you know, I'm about to have her in a couple weeks now, so I thought it was normal, right? So then I went to sleep, Minazel went to sleep, and I wake up in the morning around 9 in the morning, and I realized that I was wet, but it was weird because I don't remember feeling like I peed myself or feeling like my water broke. I didn't feel anything, honestly. Didn't feel anything. I just woke up wet, and I told my husband, I was like, babe, look, I'm wet. I don't know if I peed myself or my water broke. So then he felt it, and he was like, whoa, this might not be normal. And I was just like, well, should we go to a hospital? I mean, I don't feel anything. I wasn't feeling any contractions. I wasn't in any pain. It was just a regular morning for me. So then we called his mom, and well, he called his mom all concerned. He was like, should we go to a hospital? Should we not? And then his mom mentioned to us that we should go see a hospital ASAP, just in case anything happened. She basically said, you should be safe and go check, and if nothing happens, then oh well, they tell you to come back home. But if something did happen, you're already at the hospital. So that's what we did. I got into the shower that morning, and then we both ate breakfast, and then we headed to a hospital with all our baby hospital bags and our bags, just in case we had to stay. And so when we were heading to a hospital, I was feeling normal. I was nervous because I was like, oh my god, is she coming right now? Is she coming? But I wasn't feeling any pain at the moment. So then we got checked in. With this whole COVID thing, it was really hard to see if they were gonna let Israel be a part of, you know, the room, or if he was gonna be able to see her be born, because it was really restricted during COVID. And oh my god, my pregnancy during COVID has been the hardest thing I probably had to deal with, just because COVID was hard. We were all scared. I was scared to go out. I was still working every day up until maybe a week or 2 weeks before I had Isabella, and it was just a scary time. And so the restrictions were really strict, and I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they were gonna let Israel go in with me, and I was so nervous because obviously this is my first kid. So I was just hoping for the best. So we got checked in, and they did a great job with checking me in. They told me that, well, my husband told them, oh, I think my wife's water broke. So they put me in a wheelchair, and then we go into a room, and then in the room, before they take so they take you into a room before they take you into like the laboring room. So we went to a small room and they monitored the baby, and they did so many tests on me to check if my water had broken or if it didn't. So we stayed there for a good 3-4 hours before they finally told us that my water had broken. So then they moved us into our labor room. And the reason why I said labor room is because I didn't really have her in that room. I had to go to C-section. So, but I'll say that in the rest of this, like further down the story. So then after we went into our labor room, I remember they told me I was 2 centimeters. So they started telling me that I had to walk up and down the room, and then they gave me like a medicine yoga ball, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I tried to do the most I could, but it was still hard to like, I just physically was so tired and emotionally tired. So I did try everything, but I would get tired at times. So I would probably do 10 minutes of yoga ball and then lay back in the bed. And then I'll do some walking and then lay down back in the bed. And then I'll do the yoga ball again, lay down in the bed. And I was like that for a long time. I was in labor for 38 hours. So, after a while, I started to get concerned because I guess well, it's normal when you're 2 centimeters to gradually go up in centimeters up until 6. 6 is, once you hit 6, it's like, it goes by fast. But I was there for about, I think it was a 24-hour mark that I was still at only 3 centimeters. And so my doctor, he was there. So I had a guy doctor, and he was absolutely amazing. I loved him. He did a great job. He made me feel secure. He kept updating me. He wasn't sugarcoating anything. And at that moment, I didn't want anything to be sugarcoated. I was obviously ready to have the baby. Also, I was concerned for her health. I wanted to make sure that she came out as a healthy baby and that she didn't go through any issues inside of me while she's coming out. So he was really nice. But at the 24-hour mark, he did tell me that it's kind of unnormal or unusual for me to just be at 3 centimeters and not growing. So then he told me, that was around nighttime. So then he told me, I'll come back in the morning and check on you and see how you're doing. And this was nighttime of the 29th. Yes, nighttime of the 29th. And then, so he was going to check on me the 30th. So then I was like, okay, and I kept doing what I had to do. But at this stage, I was already so tired and sleepy. I would literally just try to rest as much as I can, because I was like, whenever the time comes, I want to be rested for whenever I have to push. So the morning came, and and then he checked me again, and so I was only at 4 centimeters, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna put this like balloon thing that they put inside you so your cervix could grow. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever it takes. So he put that in me to see if I would grow more than 4 centimeters at a faster rate. And they also put I'm not sure what it's called, but like they put like some type of liquid, or I don't know what it is, but they did something so I could like get, you know, contractions faster and start, I don't know exactly what it's called. I'm so sorry. I should have researched this before, but basically they try to speed up the process and try to see if they could speed up my cervix opening bigger, faster. But so then I had that ball for about 5-ish hours, and it didn't work. And he told me, he was like, okay, now I'm really concerned. You know, I'm only going to give you up until 11 o'clock and see on the 30th at 11 o'clock p.m. and see if anything happens. And if it doesn't, you have no other choice but to go into an emergency C-section, because she's starting to lose water and she's not going to be able to breathe in there. She's already about to go on several hours without water, because my water had broken since the 28th. So yeah, and my water broke, like everything came out. So she was she barely had anything to breathe in there. So he was starting to get concerned about that and that issue and her health. So then I was starting to get worried and I was starting to panic. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? She doesn't want to come out. I was basically getting frustrated on myself. I was getting mad at myself because I was like, how is this possible? Like, come on, your daughter wants to come out, but you just physically can't. Like, what's wrong with you? And I know that's so wrong to like think about. Like, it's not our fault, our bodies. Like, we can't control our bodies, but at that moment, that's just the only thing I was thinking about, and it made me so mad and sad and frustrated. And that's just the honest truth. That's just how I felt at that moment. But so then I tried, and then I ended up getting the epidural because then I started to get really bad contractions, really hard contractions. I remember, you know that there's always a machine right next to you. I remember that they were so up there, and I was just like, I can't take it anymore. But the thing that sucked, I was contemplating getting the epidural because once you get the epidural, you have to stay in bed. You cannot get up no more. So the whole yoga thing and walking around thing, I had to stop, which means that my cervix opening faster would decrease. So I was contemplating, but there was a point where I just couldn't take the pain anymore. And then I know the nurses there recommended me to start getting it when I started having those contractions really bad, because they said if you wait, sometimes it's the longer you wait, the more they can give you the epidural. And my pain was getting really pretty bad. I was going in there without trying to get the epidural, but I was just in too much pain. Yeah, I recommend the epidural obviously because I received it, but not everybody needs the epidural. I just preferred getting the epidural, and it helped a lot. It honestly helped a lot. And I know they say that like it could create back problems or anything, but to this day I haven't had any back problems, thank God. But I don't know if in the future I'm gonna have any back problems, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But as of right now, I haven't had any back problems, so that's been fine. I honestly didn't feel the needle going into my back. All I felt was a cold sensation on my spine. That's all I felt. It didn't feel painful, nothing like that. So I mean, it was pretty cool. So once I got so I was contemplating getting an epidural, and I finally got it. And once I finally got it, I had to stay in bed, and they also put like this bag where a pee bag, because you can't be getting up, so you basically pee there. And so I thought that was painful. I thought that was more painful than getting the actual epidural shot. They put like this tube inside, you know, where your pee comes out of, and it's just, for me, it was such a painful experience. That's probably the worst part about my whole labor story, in the aspect of before having her. So I got the epidural, and then a few hours later he came back in, and my doctor came back in, and he was like, okay, you know, it's already 10 p.m. and you're not more than 4 centimeters. Like, I'll give you 1 more hour, but that's pushing it. We both know that you're probably not gonna get big. Your cervix probably not gonna get bigger in an hour. And I was like, I totally agree. And he was like, okay, I'll be back in 1 hour at 11 o'clock, and we'll start with your whole C-section procedure. And I was like, okay. And I told him, I was like, but I'm feeling nervous because I obviously didn't go into labor, or I didn't go to a hospital thinking I was going to have her C-section. I obviously went in there thinking I was going to have her naturally. That's what I was expecting. That's what I wanted. But it didn't happen that way. So I told him, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. I started to shake, I started to stutter. I was starting to kind of lose it in a way, and he saw that I was losing it. So he stayed there, and he explained everything. He explained all the health risks. They also give you these packet of papers and let you know like the complications that could happen. They obviously let Israel, he was in the room with me, thank God they let him in. They let Israel know what could happen to me, what could happen to her, and just you know, the risks there are from going through C-section. But at that moment, yes, I was scared, yes, I was nervous, yes, I was gonna lose it, but I did not care. I wanted my baby to come out normal, whether I had to go through the worst pain or I had to go through so many complications. I just wanted my baby to be healthy, and I wanted her to be here. So after talking to him, I felt a little bit eased, and I was like, okay, let's do it. I'm ready. I've been here for almost 38 hours. I'm ready to have her. And he was like, I totally agree. You've been suffering too much, mama. Like, let's just have this baby. And I was like, okay, perfect. So he left, the doctor left, and then the nurses came in and they started to put these robes on me, and they kept the epidural, but they took off the rest of the other stuff that I had for the machines, like, you know, the finger thing, and then they put like a little needle in here, and like put like, I don't know what they give you, because I can't eat either. The whole time I was there, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do nothing like that. So the only thing I kind of was in the mood for was ice. But when I was eating ice throughout my whole time at the hospital before having her, I was throwing up. It was ridiculous. I kept throwing up, and so yeah, I just kept throwing up. It was disgusting. But oh yeah, I also wanted to mention that I did have so much sickness with her during my pregnancy. It was ridiculous. I had a lot of reflux. So when I went to a hospital and I couldn't eat anything and I was eating just ice, it really messed me up. And I was just throwing, probably the last 5 hours, I was probably throwing up like about 2 times an hour. So I was going through it, but you know, I had to do what I had to do. So I finally went into the C-section room. They take you away from, well, they took me away from my labor room into the C-section room, like the surgery room. And they didn't let Israel in with me. They told him to stay back. They made him put on a whole robe and like a whole gown and everything, mask and everything. And so Israel tells me that I was in the surgery room for about 30 minutes before he was allowed to come in. So let me tell you, so I remember going into surgery room and I was, So on my way to the surgery room, I was still in my bed, on my labor bed, like my labor room bed, the one that they gave you there, I was still in there. And so when we got into the entrance of the surgery room, they have another bed for you. And what they did, since I had the epidural that I couldn't move, they had like 4 or 5 people pick me up and take me to like another bed, and I laid flat. And I was like, okay. And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to have this baby C-section. What am I gonna do? I was nervous, and I tell you, nervous and so scared. And I feel all the moms that went through C-sections, because I'm pretty sure you had the same feeling, or any mom going through labor, because damn, that's such a scary feeling. But anyways, they put me on that bed and they took me in, and then they had, so I was laying down, and then they had like a curtain where I couldn't see my stomach down. So I couldn't see my boobs down. And so I was just laying there, and I had 2 doctors right here, and then I don't know how many people were, you know, doing the actual procedure, but this guy was letting me know that I could basically vent to him. I could let him know how I'm feeling. He's there for me. I didn't have Israel. I had to be there by myself. So he was basically that he wanted to make sure that I knew that I wasn't alone during this process. And then there was a girl on this side, and she was just holding my hand, and she was just letting me know, Mama, you got this, don't be scared. And I'm gonna get emotional because I remember this, but it's sad because after a little bit after this, I really don't remember what went on with the whole process of seeing Isabella being born. But anyways, I'll get into that later. Anyway, so yeah, so I had these 2 next to me, and they did tell me, you're gonna feel, they're about to cut you right now, you're gonna feel some pain, you're not gonna feel any pain, you're just gonna feel tugging and pushing and like stretching. So I was like, okay, perfect. So once they cut me, I felt it, and I screamed so loud that the 2 people that were right next to me, they were like, oh my God, what happened? And I was like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain. Like, I felt that, like, I started shaking, and then I was just like, I was basically in shock, and I told him I could feel it, like it's painful. Like, you guys told me I couldn't feel it. Like, at that moment I was just stressed, and I feel bad for screaming at them, but I was in so much pain. And then he was like, you can feel it, you can feel it. So they stopped, and they kept they rushed to give me more anesthesia, like stronger anesthesia, because they left me at just epidural, and I guess that wasn't cutting it for me. So they gave me more anesthesia, and but as soon as they gave me more anesthesia, that was it. I was like, I was already in pain, and I was already in shock. I was literally in so much pain. Like everything felt so bad. Like the way they tugged, like after that cut and the way they were tugging and ripping layers, like I felt it all, which is why I feel like I ended up not remembering about her. So, and the only reason why I'm gonna say this part from now on is because my husband did record. My husband did tell me what happened. So after I felt everything, I told him I was in pain. They gave me more anesthesia, and I was like, and he was like, calm down, come on down, your baby's about to be here, be strong, be strong. And then out of nowhere, I start hearing Israel. He was like, babe, you got this. And I looked at Israel. I was obviously crying in tears, and I looked at Israel, and then he was like, babe, like he started rubbing my hair, and he was like, you got this, like don't be scared, don't be scared. And I told him, I remember telling him, I told him, I was like, I'm in so much pain, I can't Israel, I can't. And he was like, babe, you got this. And then that's all I remember from when I was there at the surgery room. But Israel told me that after that, after he was telling me, oh babe, you got this, then I guess Isabella wasn't born too far from that. I think he said about 5-10 minutes after that, and they call him over, and they tell him, oh, you want to meet your baby. And then, you know, they took her out, and then he got the chance to cut her umbilical cord and all that stuff and see her weight and all that. And then he says that he turned back to me and he saw me out of it, like I wasn't really responding. I was crying, but he knew I wasn't really there, like physically there, like my headspace was somewhere else. I was just not there, and he could tell that. And so I'm so thankful he took so many pictures and some videos of that moment, because I honestly don't remember anything. So then he told me that after she was born, they then took him and the baby and made him do some what is this called, skin time with him. So he left and he went back to our labor room where we were supposed to have her with the baby, and he left with some nurses while they, you know, stitched me back up, and they did all that stuff. And so I don't remember what happened. All I remember, or what I can remember, is going back into the labor room where Israel and Isabella were, and just remembering that I was just stuttering and I was asking for my baby. I was like, my baby, like I was literally talking like my baby, and it sucked. Like I remember that part, and I remember that nobody understood me, and I was just so frustrated and mad, because I was just, like, in my head I was saying it right, you know, I knew what I was trying to say, but nobody understood me, so I was just getting so mad. So I remember that. I also remember people kept asking me questions, like a lot of questions. At this point I was already in my bed in my room. So we had a pretty big room. I had the restroom on this side, and then I had like a window and like a couch where Israel was sleeping on this side. But between that, there's like a little hallway where all these I think it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it was like 5 people just asking me questions, and I was just so lost, and I kept going in and out. Like that's all I remember. But from what Israel tells me is that I was basically stuttering a lot. The doctors did not know what to do. They were confused as to what was happening to me too. And I was also, my eyes kept like, you know, going side to side, and I kept going in and out, and I was just but I think they were, Israel was telling me that they were scared of letting me go to sleep. They were like, oh, we don't want to put her to sleep, because they thought that I was probably gonna like pass out or pass away or something. They were honestly scared. They've told my husband, and then they told me afterwards too, that they've never dealt with something like that. So it was new to them, so they were in shock and they were kind of worried. And then obviously I was in and out of it. I don't remember too much, but Israel said it was scary. He thought I was never gonna talk normal again. He was literally scared. He was holding Isabella in his chest, on his chest, and he was just like, come on, like he was scared. He was like, damn, am I really gonna lose her, or is she really not gonna ever talk again? So I could only imagine what he went through and how he felt, and being with like a newborn and like our baby and seeing me go through so much pain and all that stuff. I couldn't imagine what he went through. But anyways, then he told me that the doctors decided to let me go take a nap. And he said that I took a power nap for 30 minutes. And then this part I remember, this is when I start to remember again. I woke up and then all I remember is all these doctors still surrounding me. And I was just like, and then I looked over to Israel because he was on my left, and I was like Isabella, because obviously that's our baby's name. And then Israel just looks at me and he shows my baby, and I start busting in tears because I was like, oh my god, my baby, she's healthy, I'm so glad. And then at the same time I was so sad because I was like, I couldn't be there for her first moments of life. Like, I felt like I was already a bad mom because of that. But the emotions that go through someone's head when you're going through so much stuff. So yeah, I did think I was a bad mom for not being there for her first moments of life. But that's just what I went through, and that's my truth. I don't want to sugarcoat and be like, oh my god, yeah, I didn't think of anything, or I want to say the honest truth and how I felt, because I'm pretty sure so many moms out there who might have the similar story or felt the same, probably felt the same. And trust me, you're not alone. I felt the same way too. So I just wanted to let you know that I felt like the worst mom ever. So when Israel finally gave me Isabella, I cherished that moment so much. But it was kind of sad because the nurses felt like they couldn't trust me still, so they were holding her on me. I was still so weak. I was there, but I just physically was so tired and everything. So I was there holding her. I breastfed her, and we were just bonding, and I was so happy that she was there. I tried to enjoy the moment, and I told them, I was like, I'm good now, like, you can let me have this moment with my baby. So then me, Israel, and Isabella had a moment to ourselves, and enjoyed her being born. And then so that happened, and then I finally got to remember. So then that happened, and then so after I had Isabella for a while, they let me know how to get her latched onto my boob for her to breastfeed. And they let me know, like, oh, we need you to log, keep everything on a log, like how many times she's eating, how many Pampers is where, how many poops is she having, all this stuff. And I was like, okay. And so after all that, after them explaining all of that, they left us alone, and it was just me, Israel, and Isabella for the most part, besides them coming to check on me and checking on Bella, and also taking her little tests, measurements, her bath, and all that stuff. But I also wanted to let you guys know about part of my labor story was that so after having her, I obviously had a C-section, so I was in so much pain. I was obviously on painkillers, but after, I think we stayed there for 3-4 days after having her, because we came back home what day did we come back home? 30. So we came back home the 3rd, and we had her the 30th. That's 3 days. Okay, so I had her this on November 30th at 11:56. Can you imagine that? 4 more minutes, she would have been born on December 1st. But anyways, we were there for 3 days after having her. And so they keep you on painkillers for the next day. Well, not painkillers, but like I'm not sure what it's called, but it's from like a machine from Liquids when they put like the whole IV in you. That I was still on that for a whole day, so I didn't really feel too much the first after having her. Now, on the 2nd, in the morning, they took away the IV, they took away everything, and they put me on painkillers. And that's when I felt everything. That's when I was so in so much pain, so sore. I couldn't really get up. They also took away, obviously they took away my epidural. They took away the pee, what was inside the part where I pee. It's like a little tube that they took that away, so I couldn't pee. I was bleeding so much. My pain, my incision was so sore and it hurt so bad, so I was in so much pain. So honestly, and yes, I'm admitting this, maybe a lot of people don't like to admit it, but I am. It's my truth. Honestly, the whole month Isabella was born, I really didn't change any diapers. I didn't change her clothes. I didn't bathe her. That was all Israel, and I'm so grateful for Israel, because that whole month he was in daddy mode. He did everything. All I would do was breastfeed her, because that's the only thing I physically could do. I don't know if I don't know how moms do it out there. I was just in so much pain. I also got an allergic reaction to breastfeeding, which I want to talk about in a different story, to show you guys the pictures of how I ended up being allergic to breastfeeding. Yes, I know that's weird, but I ended up being allergic to breastfeeding. So I had so many reactions after birth. Sorry, my camera cut off. Anyways, so yeah, I was on the pills for a while, the painkillers for a while, but then after a while I stopped, because I was like, oh, I don't want this to affect me. I don't want to keep being drowsy. I felt like it was just making it worse on myself and on my body. I also didn't want to get addicted to it. I know you might not get addicted or anything, but that was just my fear. I just didn't want to get addicted to it. So I just stayed stayed as it was. I just took the painkillers for how long they told me, or how long they recommended. Once I started to feel good, even though I was in pain, I stopped. I also wanted to say, at the hospital, all my nurses treated me so damn well. They were the best nurses I could have ever asked for. All three of them, because I had three because of the shifts that would alternate, but they were amazing. My doctor was amazing, and then the two guys that were in charge of Isabella, making sure that her exams and she was healthy and all that, were also amazing. We felt loved. We felt really comfortable. She was finally home, and it made me happy. It was a scary but still excited feeling, and that was my labor story. And I'm sharing my labor story with you guys just because I saw a lot of labor stories, and after having her I was like, whoa, this is what I went through, and this was different, and you know, what they were saying in this video didn't happen with me. So I was just like wanting to share my story, so you guys could you guys could know like different stories and be like, oh, okay, this can happen, but at the same time it might not happen, because every labor story is different. And mommies, we are strong. We brought a baby into this world, whether we did a C-section or not. We still brought a baby into this world, because I know a lot of C-section mothers get discredited for having a baby C-section because it's not the real way to have a baby, but we still bring a baby into this world, and we still have to go through so much pain. We still have to recover. I had to recover I'm still not fully recovered. It takes 6 months to fully recover from a C-section. So yeah, I feel like I did it. I'm a mother 100%. I don't care what they say about C-section mommies, but yeah, to all my C-section mommies out there, we did it. Yes, you still brought a baby into this world, and it's still beautiful. And I'm not trying to discredit any person that had a natural baby. I'm just saying, like, not natural baby, sorry, in the natural way. I'm just saying that I know so many C-section mommies get discredited. I've seen so many posts and everything, which is, I'm just trying to reassure the C-sections mommy, because I'm not trying to discredit any mom that had their baby in naturally, because you're a superhero too. I never felt what that could feel like, but I'm pretty sure it's probably painful just as well as having a baby C-section. So yeah, this is just my experience. I just so happen to have my baby as a C-section, and that was my labor story. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed my labor story. It was pretty long, I know. I tried to go into as much details as I could. I probably forgot some details here and there, so if you have any questions or anything, just leave some comments below and I'll answer you. Or you can also message me on my Instagram and let me know if you have any more questions, or if you want to ask me anything personally, I would also be happy to answer those questions. But yeah, so hopefully, oh sorry, I dropped something. Hopefully I'll be able to do the Q&A with Israel soon. And then I also want you guys, because I know I kind of, you know, teased it a little bit about not being able to breastfeed my baby because I got allergic. So I also want to say a story about that. Maybe it happens. I never heard of anything like that, so I want to share something like that too. But that was my labor story. Sorry it was long. I know I got emotional, but it's just the truth. It's just what I went through. I'm an emotional person anyways. And so yeah, this is my labor story. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to see what else we have in store. Bye guys.